What's up, guys? Zero HP, back at you. We, I guess I should introduce us. This is Ian.
Hi, guys.
I'm Mason, as you already know. We just finished watching. What'd you call it?
The Battlefield 5.
Battlefield V.
Battlefield. I'm going with 5. They called it 5.
5. Okay, that's fair.
Battlefield 5
reveal
event. Yeah.
Deal.
Yep. Wasn't a gameplay reveal.
Situation. No, that was not. Nope, not that. Yeah, it was about 30 minutes long, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and we just finished it up. We wanted to come in here and give you kind of our first impressions and our thoughts on the reveal. How much we love Trevor Noah, which we do.
Yes,
big fans of Trevor Noah. And let's just jump in, man. I kind of went chronologically here in my notes, and we'll just kind of go over things step by step. Sound okay?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did.
Let's do it.
My first note is Trevor Noah.
Trevor Noah. Trevor Noah.
Hey. So I didn't know. I don't pay attention to anything EA does or says anymore until something like this big comes out. So I had no clue he was hosting it, and like it opens up with him in the green room, and everyone's like, "Hey, it's Trevor
He's getting
Noah."
like makeup done. He stands up. I love Battlefield because so I knew he was hosting it on accident because earlier I went on to GameSpot and he was like the thumbnail for an article or something, so it kind of spoiled it for me. But yeah, that was good to see. I wonder if he's really a Battlefield fan. It's always that thing like
I think he is.
I don't know.
I don't think that he would agree to do something, knowing him.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd agree to do something that he didn't give a fuck about.
Yeah. Hey,
you know what I mean?
That's good enough.
I mean,
for
he's a busy damn
dude,
man.
yeah,
He
for
tours stand up. He does the Daily Show.
Does he do stand up too?
Yeah, he
That's
was just here in March.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so I really don't believe that he would just be like, yeah, sure, I'll do your dumb game.
Your dumb video games.
Yeah,
Right.
and most of it, I would say his intro, I was like, oh man, it's kind of canned, but he really turns it around when he doesn't have to read memorize lines anymore.
When you can tell he's not reading from a teleprompter. It's
gold.
It's very Trevor Noah. Yeah, it's all gold. Opening up, they kind of broke everything with footage going backwards chronologically of Battlefield games.
Yeah,
which
cool
is
little
really
montage.
Cool.
Yeah.
It really hit home for me when it ended kind of near Battlefield Vietnam.
Oh
and
yeah,
1942.
Like, I know, man. I was like, God, it's crazy.
It's good to see that gameplay again.
Far it's come.
It's crazy.
Battlefield 2 was awesome.
It's so crazy. I mean, they opened up kind of talking about like their ideas for the game and how they want it to feel, and talked about how they're focused on like unseen moments of World War II, which is actually something you touched on. Well, I was there, but you really were the one speaking on it. I think in a podcast we did. Remember, Battlefield came up at one point, and you were talking about what their approach will be as far as like your standard World War II moments, like storming the beach. Yeah, exactly, and what they're gonna do differently. And I felt like they touched on that.
Yeah, that was like a big kind of cornerstone, at least for them at first, letting everyone know like this is not Call of Duty World War II, which was the same shit again.
100%.
And they briefly touched, as a big history nerd, I was picking up on all the little things. They're going to be, one of the stories is going to be in Norway, which is so cool. Have you ever seen that when the Winter Olympics were on? The skiing and then laying down to shoot?
No.
It's one of the events.
What?
And everyone's always like, where the fuck did that come from?
Right.
That comes from World War II. I mean, it might be older, but I know it from being from World War II because the Norwegians and the Swedish were invaded and taken over by Nazi Germany. And they're such incredible skiers up there that like they perform guerrilla warfare by like flying down skis and like taking pot shots at like German patrols and camps and stuff like that.
The more you know.
So that's where that. So if you ever see the Winter Olympics, you'll see them. They'll shoot these little 22 rifles. Yeah. And they have to like stop after cross country skiing and shoot, and then put the guns back on, and then keep cross country skiing because it was born from like this sort of like the heroics of those guys.
Huh. Oh, good to know.
And the story's gonna focus on like a woman who was fighting. I want to get into that later.
Yeah.
Not specifically her, but some betrayal stuff that I have.
Right.
We'll get there later.
Okay, perfect.
What's your next note?
Yeah, so my next note, and let me know if I'm skipping over anything. They opened up with the new modes, or at least one of them. We're talking about Airborne. They kind of like hinted toward it and then left it in the dust after that. They never came back to that. No. We talked about other game modes later, but they just mentioned.
And I was wondering if it was linked to. So I've got all these different things here. Combined arms, which was like sneaking in behind enemy lines, whatever, like paratroopers. So is that part of the airborne thing?
I don't know. That's the thing. They never touch on it again.
Yeah,
and it was like airborne, and there's like an awkward pause.
Are they going to make the Germans who are surrounding you played by people, and like it's 4 on 50 or something? Like I don't understand. Like, which would be insane.
Experience. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
I don't really think that. You don't have to call me an idiot for that.
Co-op is back.
Co-op is back.
Which was pretty exciting to hear.
Yeah,
about.
But again, they tied it to that combined arms thing, so it doesn't sound like it's like a co-op story or anything.
That's just what those were their words. Co-op is back, right? And then very few details. They bring up combined. They brought up a lot of things that I felt like were really vague terms for things that none of us understand because we didn't develop.
Because they're saving all the gameplay for E3.
Right.
Or sorry, no, they don't go to E3. They go to EA Play.
All right.
The day before E3.
That's enough. They get their own E3.
Fucking EA.
They've earned it with all that money.
Battlefield's like the only thing I want from EA pretty much anymore.
Another thing they touched on, as far as changes to the game, is overhauled movement, which we saw a little bit in the gameplay trailer.
Yeah.
In quote, because it wasn't. That's not gameplay.
No.
Let's be very real. Just because there's a timer at the top doesn't mean it's gameplay.
Yeah.
None of that's happening ever in the game.
Never.
I'll break it to you now. But they did talk about overhauled movement, and I think there will be glimpses of what you saw in the gameplay. Maybe you can jump out windows. Maybe.
Oh, I'm sure. I bet you can do that.
Yeah,
and you can kind of do it now. It's just not the action hero.
Maybe we
style.
get an action hero, right? Where you curl up and just
it goes
launch
like
through
third
a
person
thing
for a second,
land on your back and fire. Maybe.
That's actually something I would like. A lot of people wouldn't like this. But, did you ever play the Brothers in Arms games?
I mean, a long time ago.
So the one that came out for 360, Hell's Highway.
No, I did not.
I liked the first person, and then when you take cover and shoot at a cover, it's third person.
Okay.
They're not doing that. Like I'm not saying that's it. I would like that.
Yeah, it would be unique.
It would be unique, and I like the way that feels. So they showed off some gameplay. We'll get to that later because it was so much later. But there was no actual. I was thinking they were going to show us some stuff that we're talking about this, and like here's an example.
Right.
None of that. We got some beautiful concept art.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole thing, it's worth watching just to see the incredible images. Those are some serious wallpapers if I can grab them.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Absolutely. Moving forward, they kind of kept talking about game modes, and they transitioned into grand operations,
which Trevor immediately made fun of. Well, I love it because he was like, it wasn't mean spirited, but he was constantly just kind of teasing EA and like teasing the developers about their names and like PR stuff, and I was genuinely laughing. I haven't genuinely laughed at using these awful forced reveals that they do.
I feel like he was underhandedly trying to poke at them what everyone who's watching is thinking.
And that's why it was so fun.
Grand operations, like
grand operations.
And they literally say it's operations but bigger.
Yeah,
that's how they describe it.
But that sounds fucking cool to me.
It sounds great, but it's so funny.
I loved operations. The one thing about operations I didn't like is that I don't think they were balanced very well.
No,
like some of the maps, offense always won, and some of the maps, defense always won. And every time I played operations on those maps, it was always that every time.
Yeah,
it's really difficult to balance those.
And operations from Battlefield 1 did kind of go through like a weird. Every time you win, it would go to like phase 2.
Yeah.
But you weren't really sure what the transition there was. They talked about how in grand operations now it's going to be like a 4-day battle that's going on, where you'll actually day 1 you're dropping in, kind of taking over, and like by day 4 you're out of ammo. There's not that many people left. Maybe it'll be teams will be smaller. I'm not sure how that'll work. It is really interesting though. Yeah, I don't know how they're gonna make that work, but I'm excited to see it.
I'm just excited. See, this is like exactly what we were talking about with the Call of Duty one, where like there was no innovation. It was like that's Rainbow Six Siege, and that's classic Call of Duty. There's zombies. There's like it's nothing that we haven't seen over and over again. And I like that Operations was innovative, and they're taking what they've already created and they're adding to it, and they're taking risks. A big, like, really long gameplay mode for a multiplayer shooter on consoles and PC is like a risk.
Yeah.
to get someone's attention for that long. Is risky. I appreciate that.
I mean, in Battlefield's kind of always been that way, right? I remember Battlefield 3 where you could be in a game for an hour and 15 minutes, and at the end it was always, thank God. Like that might have been your whole gaming session, but it was always really fun.
Yeah.
You can jump in and jump out, but I think you're right. I think they're taking risks with that, but it's Battlefield. Like that's what they do.
Yeah.
So
I always have one or two experiences in this game. It's either one of the best first-person multiplayer shooters experiences I've ever had, where it's just like everyone always dreams, where you don't die that often, and you're in a squad, and you're calling guys out, and you're taking whole squads out and completing objectives, and it's like or you just die. No one's talking, everyone's pissed off. And it's like it's always one of those two. You know in between on that.
They continue. No, you're good. That was very accurate. You had a little bit of PTSD there as you were.
All right, I'm spawning.
Dead. Yeah, 100%. They continue to kind of talk about the way classes are going to work in the game and how you'll work as a team together. And they introduced fortifications and something called the toolbox, right? And they talked about how they're replacing the gas mask from Battlefield 1 with the toolbox in Battlefield 5.
Makes sense.
And it sounds like you're going to have another class, right? Usually you have assault, support, sniper, and you might have what toolbox or whatever.
Well, he said, I mean, everyone gets the toolbox.
Does everyone get a toolbox?
Yeah, because they replaced the gas mask, and everyone got a gas mask.
So my question is then, everyone can build?
Yeah.
Doesn't that seem like it might get hectic? Do you have? Is there a total currency that your team has?
Yes, those are like they didn't go into like any kind of details with this stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe it only belongs to certain classes, but I mean, he did say it replaced the gas mask.
No, you're right. Yeah, and I forgot everyone had the gas mask in Battlefield 1.
He said you can like dig foxholes and like. Because it's an answer to the fact that we love the destruction, but unfortunately, near the end game, there's no cover left, and everyone just gets mowed down by snipers and machine gunners and stuff. So you can build your own fortifications if need be, just to kind of even out the odds a little bit from attacker to defender. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm interested.
At least the idea.
Yeah, the idea. Hopefully they execute it correctly. I'm sure they will. Moving forward, they introduced something called the Company. Which
I wasn't 100% on that.
Sounds like it's your own squad of classes that you like, right? So you have your assault guy, your sniper guy, your support guy, right?
Medic,
and you can customize each of them accordingly, however you want to, upgrade them however you want to, which I felt like we already had. I'm not sure what's different from now.
Well, because we had the customization's better.
The customization's better.
There was zero customization in Battlefield 1, and like even to the point where when I would go into my menus and it would show you like your favorite class, the class you play as the most, you didn't get to pick like what nation's soldier was on there.
Right.
You know, it just showed like some Turkish dude. I'm like, I want a Turkish guy on here. So I appreciated that it was that they're bringing back more customization.
Yeah.
Again, like I was seeing some of those images as a big history nerd. I was like,
I knew you weren't gonna.
They're running around like wearing like these painted leather. Like
they had like funny drawings on them. And,
I mean, like there was some of that for sure. I mean, you had like the pinups on the bombers, certainly you had some customization or whatever. I think that would go better with a Vietnam game where the soldiers were really not more rebellious. Most soldiers were rebellious, but there's sort of that air of the peace sign stuck in the in the band on the helmet and like I don't belong. I was drafted or whatever the shit that you see in movies and stuff that the games could kind of take advantage of. World War II. I just don't feel like they were running around in leather jackets that were decked out in like painting on the. I don't know, but. It's a video game, you know what I mean? And they're offering more customization. They want it to be more personalized. As long as it doesn't go too crazy. Yeah. I'm going to be the guy who looks like exactly like a soldier.
You'd be like, what a noob.
Everyone else has got like mohawks and shit or whatever they're going to do.
And stuff.
But that's fine. Like, like I said, limits, as long as they have some limitation and don't just go over the fucking top of it, I won't bitch about it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you completely. Moving forward, maybe the biggest breakthrough of the entire event, at least in my opinion, probably a lot of people's opinions, is kind of that awkward moment where Trevor Noah was like, hey, which of course it was rehearsed beforehand, but the way they approached it, he was like, hey, we're just going to address the elephant in the room.
Oh, I love
you guys have messed up before, but we got to talk about it.
Yeah.
Is this game pay to win?
Loved it. And just fucking straight up asked them.
Everyone knew the question was coming. I'm sure they knew the question was coming, and they just flat out said no.
No.
Still kind of vague about it, I feel like. they didn't confirm that there are not things you can pay for in the game.
Yeah,
they just said it's not pay to win.
Because I wrote down here no premium pass, which means you can't do the pre-order, pay extra money, and get the maps first, and get the and pre-order. Basically, no season pass.
Right.
It's all going to be free. Well, they said the same thing with Battlefront 2.
Really?
They did. It was like all the DLC is free so that everyone gets to play all the maps. They had the exact same phrasing with that.
Interesting.
So I wrote down no more premium pass. What's the cost?
Right.
What are you?
Where's the money going?
Obviously, EA is really stupid, but they're not this dumb. They're not so out of touch where they're going to do the same thing. So we're going to see some kind of microtransaction. If you want to have a huge store full of customizable options, fine. What I think is going to happen, because EA can never do anything 100% right, it's going to be randomized RNG loot boxes that you can purchase and open up, and you hope you get great gear, and you don't.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do, which is fucking gross. I hate that shit.
And if we're being realistic, that's probably what's going to happen. If we're not, and we're being optimistic, maybe they will take an example from other games that are doing well, that are thriving right now, that are... This game won't be free to play, obviously, but as far as a marketplace goes, you have all of your options there. Maybe they change every week. Some fresh, they cycle them out a little bit. Skins and stuff like that, because we know the customization is there.
I'll go there. I'll go. I mean, I am not going to sit here and be holier than thou, and I've never purchased a microtransaction. That would be a lie. I buy microtransactions on ESO. I've bought, a pack of 50 hairdos, and I've bought custom crafting material and stuff like that. Everything I've bought, I've known exactly what I'm getting for my money.
Right.
Yeah. The ESO does have loot crates, and I won't touch that shit. But I won't complain. If we have to find a middle ground here, these companies are not going to back down. They need microtransactions at this point. They're refusing to just make profit. They would make profit on Battlefield. It's going to sell 10 million copies. Money will go into the banks. But that's not enough. It needs to be an endless pouring supply of money forever.
Especially doing away with the premium pass and things like that.
Right. So they're going to, I'm trying to stay optimistic but realistic, right? It's a weird kind of ground to be in. So we'll see what they do, but I would love it if it's a here's the item, hit A, costs no points, costs 17 battle points.
$4.
No. It costs $1.99. You get this, and this purchase done. I will totally support that.
Myself, and I think a lot of people agree with you. Moving forward, they talked about something called Tides of War.
All these really vague.
Yeah, again, really vague. And I was hoping maybe you picked up on something that I didn't. What it sounded like to me was kind of a meta game within the game. If you remember, and other games have done it too, but this is the one I thought of, For Honor. If you remember how it had the map, and you could pick a side, if you will, and then as everyone who played as a knight or a samurai did well, you would kind of, no one ever paid attention to it, but it was there. It either felt like it was that to me, or if you look at a game, not to compare the two, but like Fortnite, what they're doing with each competitive season, the map changes. And the whole world kind of changes. I mean, what world there is, scenery is different. The way the game plays is different. I wonder, it's some kind of game within the game. It sounds like maybe to try to keep people engaged, have that sense of community going. I don't know. What did you take from that?
I a lot of the time those things For Honor, Mortal Kombat X did that with the different clans or whatever. A lot of the times those metagames don't matter after a week.
They don't matter. No.
And they always promising rewards, but it's usually one team wins every single time.
Right. Yeah.
I was sort of hoping, again, more on the optimistic side, because I think that's exactly what it is. But they were saying that it was going to be a journey through the war, and it makes me wonder, maybe Battlefield 5 releases. They were mentioning Norway. They were mentioning North Africa, which was early, 1941, or it was early in the war. Maybe the first maps are going to be involved on the earlier parts of World War II. It looked like there was no Pacific Theater, which I was kind of bummed out by. I feel like Pacific, other than World at War, just gets totally ignored, which is a bummer. But maybe we'll see that later. But I think they might focus on earlier campaigns, and then maybe as we get these free maps, we're moving on, because in November they said Fortress Europe. The attack on Fortress Europe is the classic D-Day. I mean, that's attacking, you know what I mean, Italy in 1943.
So you think we'll still get that?
I'm thinking maybe they're doing the design and doing releasing maps in chronological order of the war. I don't know that. I'm just saying that I kind of picked up on that might be the thing, which would be really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
You could do Russia. I didn't see any Russia stuff, so I don't know. I'm just saying, if you wanted to do early, you could do like the Battle of Moscow, the campaigns in North Africa, the stuff in Norway, and then move through the war as we go.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting. Again, it would be a different take on World War II games.
Absolutely.
You know, even at the conference meeting event, they were talking about how
we call it E3.
Whatever, yeah.
you're at E3, EA.
They talked about how you've seen all the movies, you've played all the games, and you kind of re-experience these things.
Yeah, we've seen the same stuff.
Yeah, so it'd be nice for a change of scenery.
I mean,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, D-Day is like the biggest.
It is important.
Invasion. It's like the biggest moment of any war in human history. Right. So I do get why.
It is important. It is important to World War II. I understand that. But you've talked about how there's a lot more.
There's tons
that we haven't gotten to see.
And the same went with, like, we had the same conversation with Battlefield 1. Everyone's like, oh, it's just trenches. I'm like, no, it's not. There was a lot more going on in World War I than just trench warfare.
But you can charge and yell, man.
Yeah, I mean, that was like the Western Front. That's what everyone thinks about. And I wanted. It's funny because I was defending them, saying there's a lot more to go in World War I.
Yeah.
And then when I played the war stories in that game and played them, I'm like, there's not enough of the trench warfare in this game. It went too far the other way.
You know, moving forward was kind of the end of it. You know, they closed it out with that gameplay
trailer
movie that happened.
It was okay.
Cinematic.
I mean, the sound effects was off the fucking chain because that's just what DICE does.
Right, the sound effects were great.
Best sound department in gaming.
All the action sequences were really good. It felt kind of goofy. They were kind of talking crap to each other while they were fighting.
One
thing I did like is it was based around like 4 characters, and you kept seeing them die and respawn, which was kind of cool.
Like that, right?
It was kind of cool for a cinematic. But I don't like that they tried to portray it as gameplay. I don't know if that was.
Once he picks up the weapon, it had I feel like they were like, all right, here's gameplay, and it was still like, so do we have this weird mudslide thing that we keep doing? Did you notice that?
Yeah.
We're like mudslide with a fucking again here. This is my history nerddom. You can all just ignore this.
Right.
Running around with an MG42.
Right.
Which weighs God knows.
Right.
I mean, it's a mounted machine gun, and you're holding and you're like. You're sliding around like I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, this is a little too Hollywood action for me. Like,
I don't know. But it was fun.
It was fun. The sound design was amazing. It looked beautiful. I think it was an in-engine trailer.
Yeah.
I do think the game will look like that. It just won't. It won't feel so fluid and like that.
One thing they did talk about, which we saw in the engine whatever, is bullets coming through buildings, and they talked about how with like a handgun with a low caliber round you won't be able to fire through walls like that, whereas in previous games every bullet just is a bullet and it goes through walls, but where if you have a high caliber gun you can fire through and level buildings like that, which is kind of interesting, kind of nice. It puts more of a feeling of power on different guns, I feel like, and of importance as well. But other than that, I mean, it looked like it was fun. You know, it was fun. The characters were kind of quippy and kind of, like I said, they were kind of talking crap to each other the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But other than that, man, the you know, maybe the next biggest thing was they talked about the release date. They gave us October 19th.
Right around the corner.
Right around the corner.
I love that shit.
Which is, we talk about all the time.
Everybody learned from Bethesda. Everybody learned from Bethesda.
Which is great. You know, hopefully
getting out before 1 week before Red Dead. Which maybe they're just thinking there's no crossover there. I'm like, I'm sorry, Rockstar Games crossover with everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
But, you know, I don't know how I'm going to do that. Like, are you, based on what you've seen, and there's still one thing I want to cover before we say goodbye.
Okay.
We're at 23, so we should be all right. Based on this, obviously it's not enough information.
Right.
Are you feeling like you would get this day one if what you see at E3, it's not EA Play, at E3, it lives up to everything you're hoping? Would that be a day one purchase for you? If we all decided to do it?
You read my mind. Okay, so you nailed it when you mentioned that this is not. We don't have enough information.
No, we don't.
100%. I wouldn't buy it off of what I've seen.
I'm saying best case scenario, like you see E3 and it meets every like you're like, oh cool, perfect. That's what I want. That's what I want.
I just want to watch gameplay, and of course it's always that thing of, well, are my friends gonna get it? And if all my friends get it, I'm totally gonna get it, and I'd love to play it. You know, it seems like a lot of fun. We just don't know what it actually seems like in game. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So I just need more information. You know, and that's it. I can't really base a decision off of that. What about you? I mean, do you have, you know, from what everything seems like a pro so far. You know, everything we've talked about.
For the most part, more positive than I thought.
It was either positive or confused.
It's cautious, though. I don't trust EA at all. At all. They've given me no reason to trust them with anything. They're going to have to earn that. I do trust DICE.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't blame DICE for what happened with Battlefront 2. They were instructed by corporate masters to build the game that way. I never blame devs that are owned by giant publishers. It's not their fault. So I love DICE. I think DICE is one of the most talented development teams in the world, and I love their games. So I want the game, you know what I mean? Like, I want to buy it. I want this to be day one. I definitely need to wait for more gameplay, and I would need at least like 2 other people to get it. For me to get it day one, especially with Red Dead around the corner. I'm gonna fall off the fucking map when that game comes out. So it's like maybe we should wait. Maybe I should wait until like Christmas, but Black Friday and get like $20 off and whatever. So it just depends. I mean, if it just blows me out of the water, then yeah, I'll get it.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited to know. I just want my questions answered. I'm excited to try it. And
so can I end on a negative note to be that guy?
Okay. Sure.
So here's my thing, man. This could make me look like a piece of shit. I really don't want to go there.
That's okay.
People are gonna make judgments about me that don't know me. All these women running around.
Right. You hate women.
Right. That's it.
Ian hates women.
Yeah. Yep.
You heard it here first. ZeroHp.
I'm a history.
Right.
I love history. It's very important to me. I absolutely believe that it's important to have quote unquote more female characters or more minority characters. Not to force them in, but if they're real stories that they're them being a woman or a minority, it makes there's a big part of the story. Great. The Norway War story about this woman.
Right.
Fucking awesome. Yeah. I would want to know about that if there were women fighting.
Her being kind of in the rebellion and everything.
Love it.
Yeah.
You know, anything like that is great. Battlefield 1 had the guy in the front. Well, you know, the Harlem Hellfighters that was a big deal. A big deal then. France had like thousands of black soldiers. I mean, it's like less than 1% of everyone fighting, but that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, but it was just bugging me that like on the front lines in the British Army, all these beautiful red-haired women with blue face paint with Thompsons sprinting around in the front lines is just fucking ridiculous.
Right. Yeah.
And it's a massive misrepresentation of history.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're just doing it to please the masses and like so that people don't yell at them, but like. I'm sorry, that's not what was happening at all, and it just really kind of bothers me.
It's hard, right? Because, you have one end, the historical accuracy you have to meet, and then on the other end you have, put yourself in the developer's shoes, right? Like, you have to make these people happy. In 20 years from now, if they're making World War II games, you're going to have transgendered people fighting in World War II. Like, it's just something you're going to have to accept. There's going to be shims and zers running around.
Like, make me a game where I play as a transgendered person and tell me that story.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to make sure, like, anyone, because we get more views on these reactions. Like, I want to be clear.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not someone who sits around being like, libtards, and, like, I'm not, but I'm also, I care about history and, and it being represented in the correct way. It just really bothers me.
Yeah.
Because it's just not true. It's just not genuine.
It's a weird hurdle they have to figure out. It's a weird climate we're in now.
Yeah.
And
it's an awful climate.
It's an awful climate. And trying to make any kind of content, under a publisher like that.
Yeah, I don't blame DICE. Yeah. It's just kind of grosses me out. It's because like even if I'm a woman, like they're not celebrating women by doing that.
No, well, they're misrepresenting.
They're throwing someone a bone. And why would you want to be thrown a bone?
Right.
Like, I'd rather just see that Norwegian story, because you know what I mean? Because there probably were women who were fighting, because it wasn't a regular army.
Right.
Trust me, all the European and American countries with regular armies would not allow women to fight. That's sexist. Yes, it is. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Welcome to history.
Yeah, welcome to history.
Like,
history
it just drives me
it's
fucking nuts. And the same thing with Battlefield 1, where the German snipers were all black dudes. The Germans did not have any black dudes in their army. They were racist.
Yeah, I hear they weren't super fond of African Americans.
It has nothing to do with being racist. They were racist. So let's make this history accurate. I don't know. I won't go too much further.
No, but you're right, and I think a lot of people are going to agree with you.
Some people might be upset. I'm sorry if that's the case.
There's no reason to be upset. I mean, I know what you're saying, and I can see where they're coming from, but that's why it's a weird minefield that everyone has to walk through.
And she had like no arm, so like
she had a hook.
What is the fucking Special Olympics World War II version?
She had a hook hand and then a Thompson in the other, which is also not a light gun. I mean,
no,
I don't know.
It's not a light gun. And it shoots 45 ammo. Like, that shit is like a single round from that would probably give my little wimpy shoulder a big ass welt.
I mean, obviously, I know, everyone knows the reason is because they're trying to be probably as mainstream as possible to reach as many people.
Yeah.
Which, in order to do that, you have to be the least controversial you possibly can. So you got to have redheads with hook hands and Thompsons and transgendered African Americans.
Let's go make a game about African tribal warfare, and then just have like a white dude just running around.
Sign me up.
Because that makes sense.
Sign me up.
Anyway, it's a pet peeve of mine. I would prefer to be realistic.
It's fair. But all in all, I can say
overall positive, right?
I'm excited. Positive.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Yep.
Thumbs up. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm intrigued enough. I wasn't grossed out by an awful presenter. Trevor Noah had a lot to do.
Trevor Noah's awesome.
We were laughing the whole time.
If it was just those three awkward Swedish guys at the table, like...
And he had them loosened up.
Yeah.
Like, because they're like, oh, in Battlefield, it is great. And then he makes them laugh and he makes them feel, and they're like, okay, like, let's just talk to Trevor.
Yeah, he pokes fun at them a little bit.
It makes them more natural.
Yeah. He pokes a little fun at them.
Yeah.
And they were very uncomfortable, you could tell, because they're probably not always on camera.
No.
Trevor Noah is... Yeah, I mean...
So he brought out the best in them.
100%.
I would like to see that kind of thing. Let's get some more people, and don't make them read scripts the whole time. Because the worst part was when he had to do his line in the beginning.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, and when it would cross over to the other people who were obviously reading off of teleprompters, it was kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, very.
But all in all,
it gets real bad.
really.
So I appreciated that.
All in all, really good presentation.
Yeah.
Let us know what you thought.
Yeah.
Make sure you comment.
Absolutely.
Are you excited? Are you excited to go back to World War II? Did you enjoy Call of Duty? Would you rather have it on a small scale like that? Have you always been a Battlefield fan? How long have you been a Battlefield fan?
Yeah.
I mean, let us know what you're
talk
thinking.
some Battlefield guys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You can check out our podcast. It's the ZeroHp podcast. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Google, most major
all the big ones
podcasts, and we always post it to YouTube as well.
Yep.
We've got all kinds of stuff. We got Total War videos every Friday if you're a Total War fan.
PUBG highlights.
Yep, God of War review coming up very soon. I finished writing it, so I just got to edit it together.
I'm gonna start playing that tomorrow, and I can't wait.
Awesome! Can't wait for you to play it. So all kinds of stuff going on in ZeroHp, and of course, Mason and I will be reacting as quickly as possible to every single major E3 event.
As quickly as possible.
Starting with EA Play, we're hoping to do the same thing, where it's almost like on the same day or the next day, depending on the timing. So stay tuned for all of our E3 coverage. We were massive grumps last year.
Yeah, we were.
So hopefully this is the start of how we're going to feel this year.
I'm already feeling it. I'm already more positive than I was last year.
Cool.
So things are going to go well. Like, comment, subscribe, do your thing, and we'll see you next time.
Later!
Later!